Molly Rose, welcome to the incubator. I cannot wait to talk about virtual assistants. Welcome.
Woo! I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, I love talking about hiring. Everyone who listens to this podcast know I am a huge proponent about just getting help, right? And not taking it all on yourself. And I love that this is what you focus on. So first and foremost, though, tell us why virtual assistants? Where do you think they could really help us as course creators?
Yes, absolutely. So virtual assistants, I find to be the number one hire, the first hire that a business owner makes. And we're all
Yes.
service providers, we're all business owners, right? And I like the virtual assistant industry because they're kind of a jack of all trades. So you're not just getting social media, you're not just getting course creation, you're getting someone that can really help you run your business so you can stick to what you're meant to do best. So that looks like helping in your inbox or scheduling or bookkeeping, in addition to helping you deliver your service of course creation.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. And I talk about that too. Like one of the first hires, right? I love what you're saying about jack of all trades. They don't just have to focus on tech or on social media. You can find somebody who can help you with all these things. Now, how do I know as a course creator when I'm ready to hire someone?
Yes. So I think scaling as a course creator, there's a huge opportunity for that to be able to take on more clients. So when you kind of get to that capacity, that's definitely the right time. But I argue even a little bit before that, so we're not, losing our minds a little bit on business. So when your personal life starts to suffer, we all started these online businesses for a reason. I think it's really important that we remember that, and a lot of that I find in common of people is that they do it because they want to show up more for their family or make sure that they can drop their kids off at school or make dinner and not have that stress that a 9 to 5 might provide. So I think that's a huge button that we need to look at. As well as when you can make more money per hour, then you can pay someone else to do the work for you. So I think you can probably see that coming through in your business pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I think I'm actually going through this right now. I have an amazing communications assistant, Laura, but I'm realizing I need to hire for the next step. And I think it's these moments, well, for me, it's these moments of agony or pain where I'm like, I need somebody just to help me with X, Y, and Z. Where is this person? Right. And just having that realization, it's never like a pleasant moment, right? Where we're like, oh, rainbows and unicorns. I wish
Right.
I had somebody, right? It's like, I'm frustrated. That's what it is for me. And I feel like that's the moment where you realize, okay, how do I get the help? Like, do you agree, disagree? What do you think?
I totally agree. And I coach my virtual assistants on expecting this because when business owners come in, they're frantic and like, oh, they throw the kitchen sink at you. And it's because they need your help so bad. So I try to catch them just a little before where it's like, you're a little organized, it's coming. So how can we get those systems in place or those SOPs? So when you do onboard someone, then it's even more seamless, but
That would be
it
smart a
happens
little
more.
before, right? But
More. Yep.
it's usually the pain,
Yep.
right? It's
It
usually
is
the
the pain.
agony. But I love what you're saying. Okay, so tell me, how can I get ahead of it?
Yeah.
If I'm listening right now, how do I do that?
Yeah. So even if you have that vision where you're going to end up needing a virtual assistant, you're growing, you can see it. So start now by recording some of your operations. So if you're updating something in a course, uploading a video, something super basic, we all have to do it. Throw on that Loom video and create that tutorial. If you're putting together a newsletter, if you're doing your bookkeeping, if you're organizing your inbox, whatever it is, and then you have this training deck while you are doing it that's available for you. So I think that's a good way to
That's a
get ahead of
great
it.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have your SOPs, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
operating procedures for when you do bring someone on. Because I think, Molly Rose, one of the challenges that we have is like we know we need the help, and then we don't necessarily onboard
Oh,
successfully, right? Like talk a little bit about that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
the biggest reason I see business owners and virtual assistants not work out, it's because there's no onboarding period because of what we're talking about. You're so busy, you're in so much pain. Like, I don't have time for this. Just come in and help me. Well, that doesn't set anyone up for success. So my number one thing when I ask a new client that needs a virtual assistant is, do you have the time to onboard? And if not, we're going to delay this because we need to have that proper 1 hour onboarding call, hand over the passwords, get a cadence of how you're tasking. If you're using a project management system like Asana, or if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, I don't care. We have to have something that's in place and those tasks ready to go for a virtual assistant to dive in right away for you.
Yeah, that's great. And you're right. And I think with with anyone, with any hire, it's what you make of it, right? And the time you spend. So I love this idea of getting your systems or recording your systems and putting those processes in place, and then having that thoughtful onboarding. So I love that.
Yes.
Let's talk about like the kind of tasks. Like we briefly mentioned this. So like tech to social media, like what are some of your favorite tasks for, say, a course creator when they're starting out with the VA?
Yeah, specific to course creators, I see a lot of opportunity for a virtual assistant to come in and help you actually with the client facing work, because a
Mm,
lot of it's so repeatable. Like I said,
yeah,
uploading all their content, uploading their guides into a system, helping proofread or edit a sales page. Design might be a little more advanced, but something that they can certainly take over for you. Collecting all the information from the client. There's all those little pieces that go into building the back end of a site. So they can be kind of the checklist that's communicating with the client. That seems like a painful job for us as business owners. We
yes,
just want
very
to get
much
in there and
so.
build.
Right.
And then helping you actually run and market your own business. So are you putting out social media posts? They can help you with that, or manage your inbox and your DMs, help you with scheduling new client onboarding calls, just like we do, helping you with your offboarding calls and your delivery, signing contracts, sending invoices, following payments, all of that stuff they can
Yeah.
take over for you. It's actually a pretty perfect match, virtual
Yeah,
assistant
I
course
know it
creator.
is really for course creators. And because I know you have an agency, right, where
Mhm.
you train VAs. Do you really train jack of all trade VAs? Like they know a little bit of everything, or do you suggest we go for like a specialty VA? Like, okay, I'm going just for a tech VA, or like how do you feel about that?
I think as service providers, having a general VA is a really good idea. I think it's something that goes amiss, because I'm guessing you'd rather be building a course out than doing your own admin. So I do train to both, but I have kind of 8 to 9 buckets that I always expect my virtual assistants to be well versed in. So
Hmm.
I've mentioned a lot of them: email management, scheduling, travel booking, email marketing, so newsletters and funnels and how to build those out and understand them, research and doing KPIs. And then there's a few others that are on my site. But the difference is we all use different systems and softwares.
Yes.
So it's not like I train them in, the 37 email marketing systems that are on
Right,
the
right.
market.
Or like the hundreds of course
Yeah.
platforms out there,
Yeah.
right?
But I really teach them the foundation in 1 or 2 systems that really can apply to any in you
That's
watching
great.
YouTube videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do push them into knowing courses
Hmm.
immediately. Like if you can pick one direction to go in, courses is where it's at. We all know that.
Yeah.
So it's good to get them to be able to manage that for others.
Okay. So talk to me about some strategies of finding a VA, or I might be getting
Yeah.
ahead of myself a little bit.
No.
Like what needs to happen before I'm ready? Like, okay, I'm doing my systems, I'm making my videos, right? What else
Yep.
needs to happen to prepare myself in my business before I hire?
Yes. So I walk people through an outsourcing brainstorm, right? Where you literally write down all the things that you do, and then you can easily figure out all the things that someone else can do for you. And we prioritize those based on how many resources you have available to you, your time and your money, right?
Yeah.
So that list becomes your outsourcing list, also
Okay.
known as your job description.
Right.
So when I create a job description, I'm going to list everything in priority of what I'm going to want someone to do, plus all the software that I need them to know or be able to step into pretty easily. We all know
Yeah.
that that can be teachable. And then the personality. So who's going to
Mm.
work well with me? What time zone are they on? Are they introverted, extroverted? Whatever it is. They don't need to be
Right.
like you, but kind of you want to like the person, and
Yeah.
jive. And then figuring out what your budget is. Virtual
Yeah.
assistants and US based versus overseas are very different price.
Hmm.
So you have to look at that and determine where you want to go for a virtual assistant.
So talking about the personality piece, so I was talking to my business coach before I was hiring for my assistant, and she's like, "You need just somebody to pace with you because
Mhm.
I'm an ex-New Yorker. My mind is going a mile a minute. Mile a minute? No, that's not very fast. A million miles a minute, and uh, and I just like I need somebody to pace with me, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's important to me, versus you might say like I need somebody who's really detail oriented and methodical and really thinks things through and comes back to me and has like thoughtful answers, right? So how do we make sure that's a match for what we really need? Like you mentioned personality. Like how can we test for that? What do we do?
I think a lot of intuition goes into this. We
Okay.
have a placement agency that vets for this, and we have a really good way of knowing who's going to be the right fit based on personality. My placement manager is a genius. But if you're doing this on your own, you really need to kind of ask the right questions, be your total self with them on the call. They might self-select themselves out and be like, whoa, this is too much for me. It happens.
Right.
It does happen.
Yes.
But ask them that question. Be like, look, I'm fast paced. This is what I expect. And are you in for it? And the ones that are going to be like, yeah. This is how I work too. Or some are be like, whoa, I'm a little more of a turtle. I work fast, but I like to be quiet,
Yeah.
and there's places for all of that.
Yeah, and I have like quieter members on my team too. Like my online business manager, Becky, she's like methodical and she's very calming. And I need that too. And
Yeah.
I know I need that. So there's something to be said for having,
Yeah.
like you said, like that different energy that somebody can bring to the table for you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the important thing is to make sure it's a part of your qualification or you're in your mind when you are interviewing, because then you'll be able to pay attention a little bit more.
Okay, I love that. And let's bring up the objection that I feel like people are thinking right now. I don't have the money for this, Molly Rose. Okay.
Mhm.
I think I need a VA for 20 hours a week. Right. So, but what's the truth of the matter when I'm starting out?
Yeah, and I can totally relate to this recently being in this field, the money, the control, you're just
Mhm.
like, Um, so I want to introduce the term fractional assistance. So the
Okay.
beauty of being a virtual assistant is you can work for 5 different clients. And the
Right.
beauty of hiring a virtual assistant is you don't need to hire them for full-time or part-time. I recommend hiring someone for no less than 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month. It's a
Okay.
great place to
I
start.
agree. Yeah.
And anything less, the energy is just not there. You want them to really show up and play for at least an hour in your business or 2,
Yeah.
3 hour sets a week. And I think that's a good place to start. So you don't need the 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month. It doesn't have to be that way.
And then how do you feel? Now we're getting to the nitty gritty, but
Yeah.
5 hours a week, do you feel like they have a day dedicated to you or an hour a day? Like what do you find works best, or does it depend?
It definitely depends on your business. Again, if they're
Okay.
doing client work for you, they're going to, that we sit down and do hours of course creation for a client at a time. It's rare that it's little nuggets here and there. If they're working on your business, I like to see them come in for an hour each day, getting in the
Okay.
inbox,
Yep.
following up on stuff. That daily cadence is really good.
Okay, I agree. And okay, so we talked about what we need to do before we hire the VA. If I'm not going to use an agency and I'm just starting
Hmm.
out,
Hmm.
where are some great places to look?
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
first one is your network. I,
Yeah.
I know it sounds cliche,
No,
but it
it's
is so
old and true.
powerful.
Yeah.
And same thing if you're trying to be a virtual assistant or pitch your courses, your course service. And what I always say is you're not necessarily asking the person you're talking to about this. It's probably their cousin-in-law that is a virtual
Yes.
assistant or their sister or something. It's
Yeah.
amazing the web of people that are out there to support you. And that could be in person, it could be an email to your list, or it could be just a social media post with your job description and that you're hiring. You'll probably get some really good candidates. And then the second, there's a lot of services out there. I've hired on Upwork for years.
Yeah, me
It
too.
takes it takes a little time to find the right people and do some tests in there, but I found some great overseas support and US based support
Me too.
on Upwork.
Me too. And I think to your point, you need to find out like kind of the formula for what works for you, right? Or like the right assignments, right? Or the questions to ask to
Yeah,
really to get to the heart of it. For me, it's about, are you going to show up? Right? Are you going to be consistent? Are you going to make deadlines? I guess for everyone, right? Like that's the communication piece is a real bugaboo for me. So because I try to really like be precise in my communication and be on it. Do you
yeah.
have like certain assignments you like to use or certain questions you like to ask?
So I like to if I'm putting something on Upwork as an example, I
Yeah.
put something very specific in it, like
Okay.
reply with this subject line.
Hmm.
And if
Yes.
I put it out on my network, if it's really big, and that just shows it paying attention to detail, reading it through, following the
Yep.
directions. I think that's really important.
I agree.
Um, yeah, in Upwork, you can't have them email you at your personal email,
Right.
but
Right.
if you're doing something on social, you could put that special email address in. And if they DM you, they're out, that kind of thing.
So I
Just paying
had a
attention.
client who, this wasn't a VA, but this was a position they're hiring for, and I was helping them. And it says right on top, take this personality assessment, right? Do not pass go until you take this personality assessment. And guess how many actually did it? Like 80% didn't do it, right? So
Yes.
maybe 20% actually did it and follow directions. That might be high. 20%
That's a
might
good
be
one.
high.
Yeah.
So I mean, the sad thing is there were some great people, like they still applied, right? And you're like, oh man, Shanna, you had such a cool profile, but you like didn't follow directions,
I
right?
know.
So I know it's sad, but that's why we do it, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Just something like that. And I've had a lot of conversations about testing on skill set. And
Mhm.
that can happen too if you're working on
Yeah.
something, but I'd rather ask for a portfolio of work they've already done and vet it that way. And then just start with baby steps. Again, I'm talking about more of an Upwork type of hire.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
I think going back to what you said about personality, I think team fit, I think skill set, most of the time they have the skill set, right?
Mhm.
But it's about the fit for you and making sure you're a fit. Like if you have a small team, like I have a small team, and making sure, okay, is everybody going to gel, right?
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
not even gel, like respect each other and be able to just work together, right?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so how do you test for team fit? Is it really like is it the gut? Is it intuitive for you?
I think there's no other way. I think I do a personality assessments.
Mhm.
I really
Which one
like
do
the
you like?
Enneagram.
Tell me.
I really like the Enneagram, which is kind of old
Okay.
school.
Yeah.
And then we do some disc work too.
I like the
That's
disc.
important. Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Do you have a
Yes.
favorite?
I like the disc.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like strengths finders
Strengths
and the
finder.
disc, and then Myers-Briggs, old school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
One of my clients likes the Colby.
Yes. The
So
Colby Index. Yeah.
yep. I think any of those are just
Yeah.
great. Right.
Yeah. And
So
then you
just
need to know how to, of course, read them. But if you have a team like you do already, and I know we're talking to newbies, but as you excel, have your team also interview them and get to know them. I think
Yes.
don't overlook that.
Yeah, I love what you just said. Like even if you don't have a team, right? So like say you're a lone wolf and you're starting out, have like a person on your sounding board or a colleague interview them, right? Just to get the different perspective. I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but when I worked for Tony Robbins and I interviewed, like I must have interviewed with 12 people. And then I took the disc and I didn't know anything about the disc. And I remember I talked to Brenda Schinke, is like a legend there. And she's like, okay, so so I see that you're like this type and you like to do this and then da-da-da. And she was rattling off all these things about me. And I'm like, yes, but what are you reading? Like she was reading off my disc because she's a disc expert. Right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Because they push that.
So I was like totally caught off guard. Right? I've never had that happen before years ago. But what I loved about that was she was gonna work with the role like on the road, but they just brought her in as this expert who knew this assessment, right? So just bringing in those outside perspectives. So now you're not gonna bring in a disc expert, but you've got people who you're like, I trust your perspective.
Right.
I want you to just talk to this person and see because they might know you and how you like to work better than you know yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I love that. Okay, that's
I
awesome.
do too. That's great advice. Yeah.
Okay, what haven't we talked about in terms of course creators hiring, mistakes, or what do you think, Molly Rose? What else do people need to know?
I also want to echo communicating with your virtual assistant, okay, or your team. I can't argue enough having clear communication channels, and what that looks like to me is somewhere where you're getting tasked. So I use Asana. I'm staring at it right now.
Yes, we use Asana too. Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
If you're not tech savvy, which I'm thinking you probably are if you're a course creator, I don't care. Use Excel. Like that's what I say, bare minimum.
Yeah.
So a place where you're getting tasked. What I love about Asana is it eliminates email as well.
Yes.
And then where's the daily follow-up questions? You need something
we
right
use
now.
Slack. So what do you
Slack.
like to use?
I use Voxer. It's a walkie-talkie
app.
Okay.
We use Voxer too. So okay, that's great.
Yeah. And then what's the SOS? Like I need to call you, I need to text you, whatever that is. That rarely happens. Usually it's Voxer or Asana.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because as a virtual assistant for several years, I used to get tasked, and I'm not kidding, from one client via Skype, Google Hangout, Zoom, Asana, email, phone call, and you're just asking for inconsistencies and things to get messed up, or I'm spending all my time trying to just track what to do, right? Instead of being effective and efficient. So I think that's something to really look at and make sure you have in place and make sure that's clear. I train my virtual assistants to ask and set all that up. But that's really important.
Okay, this is so great. So we're on Asana, and I was reluctant at first. I was like, do I get it? But now I love it because we have all our contractors on there.
Yes.
And then you know what happens? Trello, like occasionally I'll get a new contractor. They'll be like, I created this Trello board. I'm like, can you just join us on Asana? And they're like, great. They just want a system, right? So do you find that just, okay, whatever works, whatever you can be consistent with?
Yes, absolutely. And I think if you're new to this and you're flexible as the business owner, course creator, ask your new VA, hey, what's going to work, or ask them to help you set that up. They might have a preference, be open to that. Or if you're already rocking it on a Monday or Asana or something, require that as part of your job description.
Okay, I love that. All right, and then set up, like you said at the beginning, set up those systems from the start. Okay, this is great. I know we could talk about virtual assistants like the whole day. So, but you've got information. Where can we learn more about you and your content?
Yes. Yeah. So anyone know anyone or interested in becoming a virtual assistant, I have a certification program at virtualassistantacademy.com. And then we have a placement agency for placing these certified virtual assistants at virtualassistantmanagement.com. And my name is Molly Rose Speed, and I'm on all channels. And I love talking to people. I'm a course creator too. So I love this world. It's great.
Yeah, I know. And just, I think the bottom line is just get the help, whatever it looks like, right? And don't struggle it through. Don't go through the moments of agony. Just 5 hours a week. Just
baby steps.
Okay. All right. Love that. All right. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.